The wealthy pay as much as 50% of their income in taxes, plus business taxes. In this episode, I'm going to address the question, do the wealthy pay their fair share of taxes? And I think you're going to be surprised. I think they pay way more than their fair share in taxes. And I'll use a few analogies to help you understand what I'm talking about. But I want you to get ready because you're going to gain insights into the amount of taxes that wealthy people actually pay in America. And they don't really complain about it near as much as you would think. So I'm Doug Andrew. I'm here in my radio studio. I've actually had a weekly radio show that I have prepared and broadcast on several stations throughout America this is my 12th year. Prior to that, I started writing books. I've written 11 books so far. I'm very passionate about educating people, whether it's on the radio or TV, this YouTube channel. Back in 2005, after helping my own clients optimize their financial assets and minimize taxes and empower what I call their authentic wealth for more than 35 years, I decided to sell my recipe instead of selling the cake. I made my competitors my customers. And from 2003 to 2007, I taught over 3,000 CPAs, tax attorneys, and financial advisors, sort of my recipe to be able to help more people. And then I let my professional licenses automatically expire. I didn't renew them at the end of 2005 to become a consumer advocate. So this is about educating you, empowering you. Many times people would ask me, golly, Doug, do the wealthy pay their fair share in tax? Well, I've been blessed to rub shoulders with some of the wealthiest people in America. I know several billionaires. I still meet with them regularly. I know how much they make and I know how much they pay in tax. And some of them do use some of my tax strategies to redirect otherwise payable taxes to causes they support, but they still pay 50, 60, 70% in taxes and sometimes more. And I'm going to share with you why they do that and how you can redirect otherwise payable tax. So when people earn money personally on their personal 1040 tax return, generally speaking, the federal government, the last couple of decades, has charged people that make more than $400,000 a year with their spouse or $200,000 or more a year, up to 37 to 39.6% in federal tax. And then on top of that, you have state income tax, and that's generally between 5 and 7%, but some states like New York and California charge as much as 12 and 13%. But because people were able to deduct all of that they paid to their state in tax off of their federal tax return, many of those states were unfairly taking money away from the federal government because they would raise their taxes in their state and you could deduct it, meaning you paid less in federal tax and more in state tax. And that was unfair to a lot of people who lived in states that only charged maybe 5 or 6% in tax. So there's a lot of tax cuts that actually benefit the middle class more, even though people think, oh, they're doing this to benefit the wealthy. Well, with the Trump tax cuts, I can prove to you that it actually caused many wealthy people to actually pay more in tax, and it benefited the middle class. But in this episode, I just want to cut to the chase. I want you to understand that from an income tax standpoint, many wealthy Americans making more than $400,000 a year, if they're married filing a joint tax return, they pay as much as 40% to the federal government in every dollar of income over $400,000. And some of these wealthy people make several million a year. And so they're giving up 40% in federal income tax. On top of that, another maybe 10, even 12% in state tax. So there's 50% right there. I know many California couples who pay as much as 55 and 60% of their income in taxes between federal and state. That's not the only tax. We have property taxes. These wealthy people own properties, and so they pay property tax. And then they go out and they consume, and they pay sales tax. They pay fuel tax. In business, they pay tax on their business profits. If they have employees, when the employees have withholding taken out of their paychecks, especially for FICA and Medicare, the employer has to match another 7.65%. And so there's a lot of wealthy people that actually pay out 70, 80, 90% of their revenue in taxes in one form or another. So when people ask the question, do the wealthy pay their fair share? I usually say, well, what would you deem as fair share? If every dollar you went out and earned, you gave back 50% of it. Is that what you call fair? Because they're doing that right off the bat on just their income. What if you gave back 70 cents on every dollar? Every dollar you had to give 70 cents back, you only netted 30 cents. What if you gave back 90 cents? Because frankly, the wealthy people are doing that. In fact, the wealthy probably are responsible for 95% or so of the entire tax revenue in America. So in my opinion, I think the wealthy pay way more than their fair share. But on top of that, they're some of the most charitable people I know, because when they can sort of take ownership in where their social dollars go over and above the 50 or 60%, they give millions to charities, to causes they believe in, like the Cancer Society, or to help diabetes, or maybe the Kidney Foundation. And they make these multi-million-dollar donations. And so many wealthy people, when I look at their tax returns, not only are they paying 60, 70, and 80 cents on every dollar in taxes, but they pay another 20 or 30% off times to charitable organizations, and they're able to tax deduct that. And people say, oh, they're getting tax deductions. Well, my heavens, they're giving it away. They don't have to. I want you to understand that when taxes are reduced or cut, it actually doesn't benefit the wealthy necessarily. It helps the middle class. And a lot of people don't understand those dynamics. In my opinion, yes, the wealthy do pay their fair share in tax. If you think a fair share is 60 or 70%, most people would think, what? I go out and earn $100 and you're going to take $70 of that? That's unfair. Well, that's what the wealthy do all the time. In fact, many times, like in World War II, the wealthy paid 94% to the federal government in tax. That was before the state income tax. So there are times when the wealthy have been taxed up towards 94% to the federal government. So, you know what? We have to be careful about judging wealthy people that they ought to pay more in tax, because people look at the dollar amount and they say, look how much money they still netted. Well, but they were only netting 10 cents on the dollar after all the taxes they paid. So what does fair share mean? Think about it. And if you want to learn more, you know, here on my radio show, many times I tell my listeners, hey, if what I'm saying is making sense, or you want to learn more about taxes and what they mean, get a copy of one of my books. This is my most recent book, The Laser Fund, and it retails for $20, but I want to gift one to you free. If you contribute $5.95 towards the shipping and handling, which is usually a little bit more than that, you can claim your free copy. I'll pay for the book. You just pay $5.95 toward the shipping and handling. You go to laserfund.com. And I'll send out a copy of the book to you. And there are a couple of chapters in here that directly focus on taxes and how you can redirect otherwise payable taxes to causes you support, because taxes are actually an asset, not a liability. We pay taxes. The CPA, your tax preparer, tells you how much you owe, but taxes are actually an asset. They fund highways and schools and all these social dollars. And so you can actually take ownership. The government allows you to redirect otherwise payable taxes because it takes pressure off of the government to provide all these things and welfare if you take ownership. And that's why one of my favorite vehicles allows me to accumulate my money totally tax-free. It's not a loophole. I'm taking pressure off of the government to have to take care of me or my wife if I die, or my children, because they don't have to. I'm assuring that they will never have to go stand in an unemployment line, because I teach my kids and grandkids how to never be unemployed, because frankly, that's a mental condition, not a physical condition. Security's in the individual and not in a job. And so if what I just said caused you to go, huh? I would recommend you get a copy of the book. And then you can learn more and watch other YouTube videos to understand where I'm coming from. And I think you'll gain insights into opportunities about taxes that you never even dreamed about before.